Good afternoon. Welcome to Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming, Arizona. This is Sandy. What am I going to do with all this lettuce? If you watch some of my videos, you know that I've been growing lettuce in my hydroponics. Actually, 3 rows that are almost full of lettuce. And we've had salads, we've had sandwiches, we've had a lot of things with lettuce. But right now there's an overabundance, and I'll show you that in the hydroponics. So today I'm going to make lettuce soup. And you might say, what? Now, in America, most people like their lettuce with their salad or on a sandwich. But they don't usually cook with it. But lettuce is a vegetable that can get cooked, just like any other vegetable. And in fact, around the world, many cultures cook their lettuce. So today I'm making a wonderful soup that you can serve either hot or cold. And I'm today adding some potatoes, some garlic, some onions, but you could really add a lot of other things with it. I am going to use my Vitamix so that it really blends it up. That would be an option too. You wouldn't necessarily have to do that. But let's go look at the hydroponics. Let's look at what I'm going to do, how I'm going to chop everything up, how I'm making the soup, and then what I fixed Joe for lunch today. I just use my scissors, my kitchen scissors, and I can just cut away. Not that lettuce, you can't just rip it, because you can. But I'm going to use a whole bunch of this lettuce to make a big batch of lettuce soup. So I need 8 cups of chopped lettuce. Now this looks like a lot of lettuce, but when I start chopping it, and anything that looks a little dry, I'll throw that out. Anything on the edges, I'll cut off. I need a cup of chopped onions, so I just grabbed some onions that we actually grew in Arizona. I need a clove of garlic, some salt and pepper. I'm using basil. Now you can use coriander and some potatoes. Some people peel these. I do not peel my potatoes because I like the potato skin. I will cut out anything that looks bad, and then I'll dice these all up. We'll also use 3 to 4 cups of water. I always start with the garlic. There's 2 of them there instead of 1. Why? Because I want to make sure that the garlic is exposed to the air for a little while. When it's exposed to the air, it does a chemical reaction and you get more flavor in there. So I'm just going to chop those up. I ended up at 3 when it looked like 1 clove, and I'm just going to put those in a bowl. Then I'm going to just take the onions. I need a cup of onions. The one thing that you should always do when you're cooking, baking, have an extra bowl that you can just throw things into. You don't have to walk over to the garbage can. You can just throw everything in, and that way you're going to more likely put it in the compost or give it to your chickens or one of your animals. And so I'll just chop up these. It doesn't take much, so I just took some of the smaller ones that we brought back from Arizona because they don't last as long as our big onions, but they still have such wonderful flavor that it's just amazing, homegrown onions. And I know onions don't cost very much, but it's very satisfying to grow your own onions. And so I'm just going to take one at a time, make sure the skins are off, and chop them up. Because one day, I'll make those onions cry. Okay, so in my stock pot, I am putting 3 tablespoons of grapeseed oil, my garlic. Now, you could use butter, you could use olive oil. Those are just choices, but about 3 tablespoons. All those onions are going in there. And I have it pretty low, about medium-low heat. I don't want to brown them. All I want to do is just really soften them. And that's all I need to do with that part of it. Now, while that's doing that, I'm going to chop up those potatoes. And we have used all of our potatoes that we brought back from Arizona already. I should have grew more. So these are some red potatoes from the store, and I am just going to dice them. You could have whatever size or shape, because I am actually going to send mine through the Vitamix. If you're not going to, I would have fairly small pieces because the soup doesn't take very long to cook. So there those onions are. Fabulous. And they've gotten soft. The garlic, you can really smell those flavors melding together. And I'm going to start chopping the lettuce. Now I need to keep those ribs. I'm not going to take the ribs out of the lettuce. You could use whatever kinds of lettuce. You could throw spinach in there. You could put arugula in there. A lot of different things you could add. So I'm going to add I'm actually using 4 cups of water. And I'm going to turn the heat up a little bit higher because I want to boil those for about 10 minutes. Salt and pepper is going in there. I don't put my basil in until it's about 15 minutes before the soup is done, because sometimes you will lose all that great flavor of your basil. So there's lettuce, 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 all chopped up. It's about 10 cups actually. But look at how easy that bowl is that I had to the side that have all that stuff that can go in a compost, feed to chickens, feed to pigs. Don't waste any of your stuff. I know it's easy just to throw it in the trash, but really, use every bit that you have. Now I have some left over. I'm going to take off any of the bruised parts or anything. My potatoes have been boiling for about 10 minutes, so that is good. And you could add the lettuce right away, but I don't. I wait till after that 10-minute mark, and then I'm just going to add all that lettuce in there. And it looks like, oh man, that's way too much lettuce. But once you start stirring it, starts cooking down, you'll be amazed at how far it goes down in that stock pot. Now, at this point, I just have it at medium-low again. I don't want to scorch anything. I don't want to burn anything on the bottom. My potatoes have boiled for 10 minutes, so they're perfectly fine. And see how that's just going down. And so I am going to add my basil right now. I had about 1.5 tablespoons of basil. Those are choices also. You could add coriander, you could have oregano, you could have a lot of different spices. But I don't want mine too overpowering, and so that's my version is basil. Then I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of butter. I just like the way the flavor, what it adds to the soup. I think that it just makes the soup a little bit better. Now at this point, I am adding just over 1 cup of milk. You do not have to add milk at all to this soup. I just happen to like a creamy soup, and so that's why I'm adding it. But you do not have to. It will be perfectly wonderful soup without the milk. You could add heavy cream if you had some. And so my burner is just on low. All I want to do is heat it up to a good simmer. See how it's just a simmer. I'm not going to let that boil, nothing. So then I'm turning the burner off, and I'm going to send everything through my Vitamix. And it just pulverizes it. A blender would work too. A food processor would work. Now you could just send half of it through, and then you would have larger pieces of potatoes and onions and lettuce. But I blend mine all up. And it's back into the stove just to make sure it's warm. And then I am putting it in the bowl so that we are ready to serve. We're serving it hot today. You can have it cold. But let's see what Joe's lunch looks like. So he has an Italian sandwich, soup, 2 packages of crackers, and an iced tea. I hope you tried cooking lettuce today. I think it's one of those versatile vegetables. How many times have we used it for rolling up a taco, on a sandwich, in a salad? But this summer, try cooking some lettuce. And remember, you can use this soup hot or cold. That's up to you. Today we had it hot, but maybe our extra tomorrow will be cold. This is Sandi, Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming, Arizona. Leave comments if you've ever cooked lettuce. I'll see you next time.